What happens when you lose the thing that you love most? When it's taken from you, how do you rebound and how do you heal? Well, quotes, affirmation, and journaling are great tools to help you shift your mindset. And in today's mindful moment, I share one of my journal excerpts that inspired me to lean into my faith. So let's begin with that quote. Stretch your faith. Now, I can't take credit for those wise words. They're actually coming from the wonderful Juan Taze Davis. But here are three things that I encourage you to remember. Number one, believe that you deserve whatever you want. Number two, let your higher being, the creator, the universe, however you relate to it, let it do its work. And then number three, receive your blessings. If you've had a time where you've lost that thing that you love and you needed to figure it out how to enjoy life afterwards, I encourage you to stay for this reflection. My name is Maya D, and I am a storyteller by trade. I share stories through dance, and in more recent times, I've been doing so through writing, most of which has come through my journaling because journaling unlocks levels of creativity that you might not have tapped into, and it aids you in tracking your accomplishments. As a child, my mother encouraged me to start journaling, right? So I've been journaling for several decades at this point. And she was like, pretty much she said, go write your feelings out before you come talk to me, right? So this um, could have been seen as a harsh way, but really what she was saying is go ahead and process your emotions so that we can have better communication. And that's literally what happened. I was able to reflect and to process my emotions. So I didn't get in more trouble when I came to speak to her. So because I understand that journaling allows us to reflect, I wanted to share one of my reflections with you. So feel free to go ahead and get cozy as you listen to this reflection, or just let it play in the background. Either way, I encourage you to ask questions. Is caring is the idea here. And I'm thinking that through my sharing of my experiences and my reflections, maybe it encourages you to share something. And through that exchange, we all grow better together. So here we go. But let not but let's remember with grace that these are excerpts from my reflections. So I printed it out so that I could read it. Here we go. She was reaching her arm high above her head when she felt the familiar buzz on her wrist. She dropped her elbow and brought her forearm close to her chest so that she could read the message on her watch. We were in rehearsal for an upcoming production, and she was a member of my cast and one of my students. She called me over and began to read the email. The email stated that due to the coronavirus, the university was changing the format of all of the classes. Social distancing needed to be observed, and more information was to come. Immediately, the mood changed, and I could see the physical markers of their emotional states. Shoulders pressed down a little more into the sockets, some eyes were red, and some faces were already wet with tears. I tried to press on. We were called into a meeting, and as we walked out, two dancers stopped me. Maya, what does this mean? Maya, I won't get this chance again. Maya, I've been waiting for this moment and this show. The thing that meant the most to them, was being taken away, and I couldn't do anything about it. My heart was heavy, and I consciously decided to be a listening ear rather than offering words out of obligation. Sometimes we feel the need to just talk to fill in a space, but sometimes we need to just listen. The decision was both logical and emotional because I had no words to comfort them. Depression, anxiety, and fear became all too familiar as my students, my colleagues, and I began to navigate this new reality, a reality that included no dance for us dancers. I leaned into journaling. I pride myself on being a good mother, a provider for all of my children, both my biological, the ones of my heart, and those temporarily in my care, my students. But at this time and with this experience, I was fulfilling like a successful failure. I did my best to paint them a picture of a brighter day that included graduation, dance, performances, and careers as I tried to imagine that same world in my head. But honestly, I was being triggered. Through my journaling, I realized that I was being taken back to the year 2017. In March of 2017, in the matter of a few days, I went from feeling a sharp pain in my heel to having to crawl around on the floor on my belly around my apartment and having to use a wheelchair at work. Now, I've given birth naturally a few times, but this mess hurt. There were a few prognosis from my podiatrist. Things that were mentioned included plantar fasciitis and tendinosis. I remember her mentioning the swelling of the vessels that carry the synovial fluid and the possibility of surgery. As a professional dancer, I needed to avoid surgery at all costs. She literally said that if you go into this surgery, you will not be able to dance again. The podiatrist put me on prednisone to jumpstart the healing process and told me not to dance. It had already been 2 weeks since I danced, and I was further depressed by the need for daily medication. I've shared with you before in this series that addiction runs in my family. So having to take a medication to get through the day set heavy in my spirit. I cried on the way home. If dance is my medium for healing, how could I heal myself without dance? This was requiring me to stretch my faith. Dance, especially movement of the African diaspora, has been done, when done to live music, has a long history of being used as a modality for diagnosing and healing ailments. By definition, dance is an art form that uses the body as a medium to convey ideas and concepts. Simply put, movement can and does convey ideas that words fail to express. Think about it. Are there any words that can truly express the feeling of being hugged by a loved one? In the absence of dance, how would I communicate? How would I express my feelings? The Alchemist, the book by Paulo Coelho, came to mind. When you decide to follow your personal legend, initially the universe conspires with you. Success, to give you success. And then comes the test of your knowledge, your loyalty, your faith, and your dedication. I had to let the creator, the universe, do its work and believe that when it was time for me to be enlightened, I would be that. Those were dark days, and I remembered so is the womb. I urged myself to think of that time as being pregnant, pregnant with possibilities of how I wanted to live in the world. In my journal, I wrote about what was truly important to me. When you lose something you love, it's a good time to love yourself in another kind of way. Asking yourself questions. Uh, Use that time to write or read that book that you want to. Use that time to learn a new skill. Use that time to catch up on that sleep. Use the time to start a healthy habit. Use the time to connect and reconnect with the universe, nature, and your spiritual practice. Your outside world is a reflection of your inside world. Take the time to take care of the inner you. You'd be surprised by the blessings that you receive. Quotes, affirmations, and journaling have been my tools for shifting my mindset in times like this, times where I was unable to do the thing that I love, unable to dance because of injury, because of the pandemic, because of different reasons. I've leaned into journaling. So I've included some links to journals and affirmations in the details below. Check them out. As a bonus, I've got a journal prompt for you. What does faith mean to you, and how has it impacted your life? Feel free to share your response in the comments below or just drop a book emoji like book like story so that I know that you were here with me. I hope you've enjoyed this story time, this reflection time. About 4 years ago, I began collecting quotes from wise women and adding them to my journal. And then for whatever reason, I started to add these affirmations or these three reminders as well. And I noticed this wonderful thing where it felt like the affirmation inspired me to reflect on memories and experiences where I demonstrated the very thing that that affirmation or that reminder was speaking to. And because I thought it was cool, I created a blog where I shared those journal entries, like the edited version, free of details like people's first and last name. And while I know that some of us really love to read, I also know that some of us learn better and like to hear things said. So I decided to come on and share these reflections, these experiences as this 30-day challenge for myself to step out of my comfort zone because I'm very much an introvert. So jumping on a live and this impromptu kind of way I print it out, but it's really like, let's go. Let's see what happens. Is out of my comfort zone. But I felt like there this could be useful to somebody. It's useful to me because I'm growing. I'm flexing a new muscle, but I felt like maybe this sharing could be interesting, informative for someone. So please like and subscribe if you like this video or found it interesting in any other kind of way. This is day 22, so we've got 8 more days to go. Thank you for joining and take care.